Welcome everybody. My name is Faisal Kamisa of the Sports Sofa, and this is the first of what will be a weekly feature called The Sum of 7, where we take a look back at the last 7 days and tell you what made this such a memorable week in sports. In the big game category this week, they come none bigger than Super Bowls, and this year's Super Bowl featured the Green Bay Packers and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Aaron Rodgers, the Green Bay quarterback, absolutely shredded the Pittsburgh defense for 3 touchdowns, and if it wasn't for a few key drops at key times, may have had a couple more. Pittsburgh, however, still had the ball with 2 minutes left to play, down 1 score, but Big Ben couldn't convert on the key 4th down, and the Packers are this year's champions, prevailing 31-25. Aaron Rodgers was the MVP and will make his way to Disney World. In the record-setting department this week, we give a big congratulations to Ray Allen for breaking Reggie Miller's all-time three-pointer mark with his 2,561st one in the first quarter, with Reggie in attendance. That is a feat that may go down for a long time, as the next closest person is still 900 three-pointers away. A side congratulatory note to Lou Lamoriello for his 600th win in the NHL as a coach against my Toronto Maple Leafs. We move on. In hockey this week, some refer to this week as old school slapshot hockey week, with this week being marred by huge hits, huge fights, and the Pittsburgh Penguins being left with 2 players on the bench to end the game. While we could talk about the Boston Bruins Montreal Canadiens 14-goal, 184 penalty minute slugfest on Wednesday night, it would compare very little to the Islanders Penguins match of Friday night. The Islanders won the game 9-3, but this game will be remembered for the 380 plus penalty minutes, and like I said, Pittsburgh being left with 2 players on the bench. Having said that, there were still many close games this week, with Thursday featuring 5 one-goal games alone. And Saturday's Hockey Day in Canada saw Ottawa victorious over Edmonton, Montreal shutting out the Leafs, and Vancouver handling the Calgary Flames. In basketball, while the melodrama still holds large in Denver, the Nuggets are doing all they can to beat good teams, marked by Thursday's thrilling 121-120 win over the Mavericks, with Aaron Aflalo, yes, Aaron Aflalo, hitting the game winner with Carmelo Anthony fouled out. In news of every year, Kobe Bryant tore up Madison Square Garden with 19 first quarter points, 33 total points that saw the Lakers victorious over the Knicks at the Garden as usual. The Cavaliers won. Yeah, no, this is not December. The Cavaliers won a game for the first time in 27 games, which now defeats the purpose of Sunday's futility match between the road winless Washington Wizards and what would have been 27 straight game losers Cleveland Cavaliers. We can watch to make fun anyways. In soccer news, Liverpool and Chelsea squared off Sunday prior to the Super Bowl in what marked Fernando Torres' first game in Chelsea blue, ironically against his former team. They looked terrible. The defense was weak. Drogba and Torres could not play together, and ultimately Liverpool prevailed with a 1-0 win. Chelsea has been in decline all year, and it's hard to figure how Torres fits in their equation going forward with a lot of their players over 30, so we just have to wait and see. Good win for Liverpool. I hate them. The week was capped by the Manchester Derby featuring Manchester City, 3rd place Manchester City, and 1st place Manchester United. United prevailed 2-1 on what can only be described as a wonder strike by Wayne Rooney. It may be goal of the year. It may be goal of the last 5 years. If you haven't seen it, check below. We'll have the highlight for you in today's highlight of the night. I promise you that. In other sports-related news, the Battle of Tobacco Road continued its annual saga this week, with Duke prevailing after a huge halftime deficit over UNC. So there it is. There's your week in sports. A little rough right now. We promise you we'll get better next week. And keep supporting the Sports Sofa. We thank you all in our first week. We're very thrilled with our support today. Keep checking for our highlight of the night, our game of the night, and our fantasy stud of the night. And we welcome all your feedback. You can check us out on Twitter at www.twitter.com/thesportsofa. But you know to bookmark thesportsofa.com for all your latest sports breakdowns, sports news, sports highlights, and instant reactions. Thank you guys. And you know that there's no better seat in sport than the Sports Sofa. See you next week.